Welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another podcast, episode 3 of Just Two Guys Talking. We have John. Hello, John.
Hey, everybody. Go Campy.
Already. I mean, it's only been like seconds into the podcast. And then we have Nicholas. Hello, Nicholas.
Hey, George. Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello.
You call me Nick.
Oh, Nick. Okay, very good.
Fine.
Nick is joining us from New Jersey. He is
New York.
I'm sorry, New York. My bad.
Yeah.
And it is 3 hours later for him. And so we are going to change our format. Normally we do some industry news, we do some pleasantries, we do some other stuff, and then we do the interview last. But in this case, we are going to take care of Nick first. Nick,
Yes.
tell us how long you've been watching the channel.
Oh, God. For a few years, George, I got, hooked on it. You know, you're talking about steel bikes and you were kind of the only one that's been at first. And I really enjoyed, what you knew about it. And because I got back into bikes like 2018 and I went to a bike store and kind of pushed me towards carbon bike. You know, that was really the only thing there. And so I got a carbon bike, a Domani, which is fine, nice bike. And started riding it. And it's just not what I wanted, but I went on with that for a few years. Then, I said, you know what, I'm going to get a steel bike. And I started researching it.
Okay.
And I saw the Ritchey online. I was like, that's a nice bike. I like that. And I could not get it. It wasn't available.
What time frame is this now?
This was during when everything was shut down.
Oh,
of course,
no
right?
wonder.
Yeah. It was just I was like, there was nothing to be had. So I was still looking around and I found another steel bike, which is nice, but it really wasn't what I wanted. But I was like, let me try it. So I got it. It was a Fairlight, which is a nice bike.
Is it rim brake?
No, it's not. It's a disc brake, which I didn't really want that, but it was a steel bike and it, had good, write-ups on it. And, I heard, other podcasts talk about it and they did, it was a good bike.
Yeah, it was available.
And it was available. I could get it.
Now, are they actually manufactured in the UK?
I think they're assembled in Taiwan.
Okay.
And then maybe assembled, then they put all the other stuff in I guess on the bike in the UK.
Okay. All right. So,
I had to get that shipped over.
The welding is done in Taiwan then?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What's the price point of a Fairlight?
It was for just the frame. I think it was around $1,700. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
In the same ball.
Pretty reasonable. Yeah.
But, it had disc, which was fine. But I liked the Ritchey. It was called more of a classic look, with the, the down tube wasn't oversized and it's just what I, had the look of like an old bike that I had, and that's what I wanted. And, I couldn't get it. Then all of a sudden, George's podcast popped up and started talking about it. And I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And, just got me really hooked about it. And I would just say, well, I got a steel bike. I don't need another one. But the more I watched, the more I wanted one. And finally, started texting back and forth with George because I started using his product, his mix. And
the nutrition product. Yeah.
It just showed up today, by the way.
Oh, good. Yeah. And again, you follow the typical buying protocol, if you will. You buy one container, you try it out, then you get two. And how many did you get this last order?
I got 3.
Hat
I've been
trick.
riding a lot. It goes quick, so.
Yeah, well, yeah. And you should be riding a lot and you should be using it. But yeah, so we started talking and then I remember almost distinctly what you said is, I need to get one of those one day or something like that.
Yeah, it was exactly like that. It's like, I really like that bike. You got to get me one, George. He goes, yeah, just let me know.
Just let me know when you're ready.
And I don't know, it just, I had the bug, once you get that bug, I have to have it.
Yeah.
But it's what I wanted, and and I'm excited to get it. It's going to be a fun bike. I went with the aluminum wheels with the textured,
Brake
coating
track.
on where the brakes
Oh,
are.
the head
Yeah,
Ardennes.
Yep.
yeah. I just seem to think that braking on carbon, it just heating them up like that just doesn't sit well with me. So
Yep, I don't blame you.
Yeah. And I actually have a bike in for service right now. It's got these super team wheels, and the bike was a hand-me-down from his older brother. And I'm like, are you sure these pads are compatible with these carbon rims? Because yeah, it's supposed to have carbon specific.
Hmm.
uh,
I don't sell super team wheels, so I don't know what they're supposed to use. But I had to explain to him, yes, these wheels heat up, delaminate, and could literally explode on you. Yeah.
yeah, that kind of freaks me out a little bit. So that's fine. I'm not a big racer or anything. I just like to go out and ride, and
Hmm.
I'm with a club, and it's we don't get too crazy, but we've been kind of ramping up our miles, and I did a couple of actually I did three 200 Ks
Wow.
within the last.
Bravo.
Yes, so I'm working my way up, George. I'm trying.
Hey, by the way, 200K is more than enough. You don't have to keep
Yeah, three
Yeah.
200Ks is already three more than I've done.
I like challenging myself, with rides like that. It's fun, and the guys I ride with are a lot of fun.
So two questions on this group. How many others in your group ride steel bikes?
A couple
Okay.
guys. Yeah. No,
Moderate?
I've yet to see a Ritchey on the East Coast here. I've
There we go.
never never seen one.
So are these so last week we shot a podcast and I'm still in the editing process, but we talked about retro mod. So bikes that are like a steel bike built with modern components, which is what we're going to do with your Ritchey. Are any of those bikes like the steel bikes in your group, or any of those like that, or are they?
The ones I've seen, they were not rim brakes, they were disc.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the ones with pads were mostly aluminum. I've seen a few aluminum, but very
Yeah,
rarely.
Nick, do you happen to remember the model and makes and models of any of the bikes?
The one was one guy rides it's called Vicious Cycles. It's a custom guy locally who makes them, and I don't know if he
Eh,
still does it, but it's called Vicious Cycles,
I like the name. Yeah.
which is a beautiful bike.
yeah.
And I was riding with him today, and he was on it, and I was commenting on, oh man, I really like that bike.
Well, wait till he sees yours.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited to get it. It'll be fun. But I think I'm the only one I know that has a Ritchey out this way. It's kind of weird. I'm expecting to see more, but I've yet to see one.
Yeah, well, I've mentioned this in some of my videos. They are made in very small numbers.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not allowed to say how many, but the numbers are really small. For
Yeah.
example, this particular production run was fewer than 100
Oh, no kidding. Wow. I was lucky.
Wow.
to the US. And keep in mind, that's spread over 6 sizes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, when the bell curve, of course, here's your 49s, here's your 53, 55s, 57s, 59s. So your 49s and 59s are outliers, but then you've got
Yeah.
the bell curve. Yeah, so but 6 sizes. So when these bikes here are available, you got to grab them because, that's basically a 5'5" person to like a 5'10" person.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's kind of swayed me because you said you had some, and I was like, now or never. It's like,
Yeah.
It
I
is.
would almost say that Ritchey should probably do a number one out of, 20 of their batch that they made just to make it feel a little bit more exclusive.
Yeah, it would be nice if that was
Hmm.
stamped, but they are welded in Taiwan, just like we were talking about with the Fairlight.
mhm.
Hmm.
But okay, so do you currently own any, besides that Domani, any other carbon bikes that you're just like, man, I just,
No, just the Damani and the Fairlight. I have an old, which I don't like to ride, an old Cannondale R400, which was just like the worst bike to ride.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, just I would get off of it and I would be just a mess. Oh, rattle my cavities out. It was bad.
Like those guys with the
I think
jack.
that's why I got away from riding. It was just like, I don't want to ride.
Right. And unfortunately, in that era, you can't put a 28 tire in there to try to smooth it out, right?
Oh no, I had the aluminum fork. It was just terrible.
Yeah.
So was this kind of the era of the 23 width tire that
I
you'd pump to
believe, yeah, I believe,
110 psi?
yeah, like 300 psi or something.
Rock hard.
Yeah, you just
So,
might just fill it up with sealant.
hmm
so a little bit more about the build that we've chosen to do. We're gonna go with 30 tires on this bike. You looking
Yeah,
forward to
yeah,
that?
that's what I want. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like the I like the I like the ride. More
Yeah.
comfort.
What is the terrain? I'm sorry, road surface where you ride?
It's pretty good. I mean, some of the roads are beat up, but majority of them are in pretty good shape. I ride, near the Catskills
Okay.
up that way, and so you get some nice hills. They get steep,
Yeah.
but not like you where they go on forever. But
Yeah. And we also got you a 34 cassette, and then we got a, subcompact crankset for the
yes, you
bike.
help me get up the hills. Yes.
That's that's right. A 4632 or something like that. So it's below a compact crankset. And
You found that for me, which was nice. I just want
yes.
a little bit more help. It would probably help me to lose a few pounds to help me get up the hills, but we'll start with that first, George.
hmm
Well, we could all lose a few pounds. It's
Yeah,
okay. But
yeah.
we
It's not the bike doesn't need to be light. I need to be light.
gain some mechanical advantage by, putting in
Exactly.
some drivetrain components to help you along. So what else have we done? I think we're doing Ritchey Super Logic for most things, right? The
Yeah,
C.
and you did the EE brakes.
Ooh,
Yes.
nice. Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna get some.
Yeah, you were talking about those. I looked up those and read about them. That was you got me hooked on those. That sounds like a nice set.
Well, Nick, I gotta tell you, they are expensive, but oh my God, I am just shocked at how good that brake is. Not just because it's so light, but because of just in and of itself, it's a very, very good brake. So
Yeah.
I look forward to building this bike for you, and I appreciate your business. Of course, I appreciate you watching the channel, which
Oh, I
got
enjoy it. Yeah.
got us together in the first place. So
Yeah, and George, if I could just plug the EE brakes just for a little bit. When I was at the Sea Otter this past year, I stopped off at the Crane Creek booth, and they had the brakes on display, and I was drooling over them, of course. And the representative, he told me that they are assembled off in the East Coast by one lady.
one,
She does all of them.
oh wow,
Yeah.
So, yeah, so manufactured in the US, made by one lady in the US. So just great product. Great product.
oh
Yeah,
that
George, you said North Carolina, right? You said they were
I
coming.
I
yeah.
believe it is North Carolina. Yeah.
Cane Creek is headquartered in North Carolina, so I'm guessing this lady is underneath that
hmm
in that building, maybe. Yeah. So that adds more to the exclusivity and the lore
hmm
of these brakes. And I honestly, when I ride them, it's just a mechanical advantage for something that is so light, shocks me. But
Yes.
yeah,
When
Yeah.
I was handling them, they felt so light. That I thought they were delicate, but no, those things are solid.
yeah,
Absolutely solid.
very, very good engineering on their part. They were waiting on small parts, so Nick's been on a back order for these at least a month and a half, maybe 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Easy.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for that, but
Yeah, no rush. I keep telling you, no rush.
I know, but the sooner I get the bike in your hands, the sooner you'll be like, oh my God.
Exactly.
I'm glad I took the plunge.
I'm trying to keep myself calm, right?
Keep calm. I've
Yeah,
got
it's okay.
Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
Anytime, George. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for all your help with choosing out the right components and everything. And I love your channel and your
Thank,
product.
thank you, sir. All
All right,
right.
man.
Have a good night, sir.
All right. Nice seeing you guys later.
See you, Nick.
Good night.
Real life person who has been watching my channel for a while and said, you know what? I want one of those.
He's been watching the channel, using the product, and now he's buying the kit and the gear.
Now, before we get into some of the prepared parts of this podcast, I want to share with you a conversation I had just yesterday.
hmm
You know that Quintana Roo tri-bike I've been building.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm constantly, like bikes come in, I want to repair them, get them out, right? Cash flow,
hmm
things that are quick. And then I spend about a half hour, an hour on that bike. And then I get everything else. And then so yesterday I had time to call tech support and I'm like, I can't get this derailleur to come from the middle of the cassette down to the 11 tooth cog so I can
hmm
size the chain and all that.
Shimano derailleur, yeah? Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah,
Of
I took
course.
12 speed.
Yeah. Campy wouldn't have that problem.
So because this is a triathlon bike and all of the buttons are all connected via e-tube wire, you can only run it in full synchronized mode.
Oh, that's kind of weird. And for some of the people out there that don't know full synchronized mode, can you go into that a little?
Well, it's the dummy-proof way of shifting, or the inexperienced rider's way to get them to still ride a $15,000 bike. So you have one shifter in one hand, one shifter in the other hand. This shifter, I'm using my right hand, will bring the chain to harder gears, faster gears, harder gears. When it
hmm
gets to a certain point, it says, oh, you know what? You're about to get crossed up. So we're going to shift 2 gears this way, and then we're going to go into the big ring for you. All you do
hmm
is mash in this button.
hmm
I want to go harder, 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 faster, faster, faster. Oh, I want to go easier, 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 up a hill, up a hill, up a hill. You
hmm
just push 2 buttons. One to go this way, one to go that way.
hmm
Unfortunately, for someone like myself, that system doesn't work for me because I know what gear I want to be in. I don't
hmm
want it to do it for me.
hmm
Not to mention, I'm probably not going to be expecting it when it decides that, oh, I can switch to the big ring and then move this over here. And I don't like that.
hmm hmm
It's the only way you can ride the triathlon setup on a 12 speed Di2 setup. And actually, this also was happening in the 11 speed. What happened was in the old days, you had 2 buttons.
hmm
You had 2 buttons on this hand, 2 buttons on this hand, and then you still have the ones on the arrow extensions.
Yeah.
They got rid of the 2 button thing. So again, harder, 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 easier, 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 easier. You. Change the. Anyway, so that was the thing. But that was a tangent because the conversation that I had with the tech rep was more important, at least for the purposes of our podcast. So I said, God, this stuff, and I'm kind of just belly aching with him or to him,
hmm
not with him because, he bleeds blue because he's working at Shimano as a tech rep.
hmm
And I begin to tell him that, nobody really wants this stuff. Why do you guys keep making this stuff? Nobody really
hmm
wants it. He says, really? No. I said, yeah, day in and day out, I get people asking me for a mechanical rim brake bike without all this nonsense.
Hmm.
Really? And because he was so astounded by my remarks, I said to him, "What are you hearing? I hear that everybody wants disc brakes and electronic shifting." I said, "My friend, you're in a bubble.
Hmm.
You're in a bubble." Case in point, we started shooting this podcast. I don't remember what time, but just before, like literally minutes before, when I was going to send the email invite,
Hmm.
I get this email. Oh, he's already responded again. Greetings from New Jersey. I'm a big fan of your YouTube channel and recently saw the video of the custom Ritchey road logic you built for another New Jersey customer. Beautiful build, by the way. I have a question for you regarding Tomasini.
Ooh.
I see that you carry their titanium bikes. Do you have access to their steel
Hmm.
X-Fire bikes for builds as well? And of course, I said yes. Now, he's got a long response here that I don't want to get into, but the point is, literally on a daily basis, I get someone now. And, maybe I've built this following. Maybe as people search for things on YouTube, maybe it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy now for me.
Hmm.
People are looking for steel bikes. They are looking for rim brake bikes. They're looking for alternatives. Now, in the editing that I'm doing on the podcast that we shot last week, it dawned on me that, oh, I also can get Tomasini steel bikes. And so
Hmm.
I meant I have some graphics up on our podcast, but the
So George, if I could just pause you right there, you can get the Ritchie, you can get the Tomasini. What else, what other steel bikes do you have access to?
well, I was a Bottecchia dealer for a long, long time, and the gentleman who now took over the account had these large order minimums. And I said, no,
Mm, yeah, yeah.
one ofs each as I need them. So we're still in the discussion for that. They're like, "Oh, well, you only have to buy five," and I'm like, "No, you don't get it." So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'm sure if I said, "Look, I have a buyer, we're ready to go," I'm sure they'll sell me the bike.
Yeah, take my money.
Right, because at that point I'd say, "Don't you want to make money?"
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm here with an order. I have a customer. Yeah. Um, Another thing I forgot to mention in last week's podcast, I'm also a Pegoretti dealer.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, through one of my other distributors. So I can get that as well. So there are some things that it's just going to be custom
Hmm.
one of, and well, who gets an off-the-shelf Pegoretti anyway? Let's do some industry news. Are you familiar with Favero pedal system?
Yes, I think you've seen the video that's been making its rounds. Do I need to do a shouting intro for that one?
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Oh,
I
you haven't seen that? Okay, okay.
I actually stopped watching him. He is annoying as blank. Yeah, I just stopped watching him
Hmm.
because especially stuff he rants and raves about is stuff that no one's ever going to see. It's never going
Hmm.
to, you know, it's a 1 out of 3 million or something cases. That's my opinion. And again, we're just two guys talking.
Yep, two guys talking.
I'm not an expert in anything. But here's yeah, so apparently there's a re-release on that. And the only reason I know about what you're talking about is Geek Torque's review, and I read some of the comments, and they said, "Oh,"
Hmm.
and he actually commented on there, and he said, "No, I had to take it off because they were going to sue me," and then I reposted
Hmm.
like that. Anyway, he's just a lot of hot air, and I just can't stand him. But what's more important than that knucklehead is that, and by the way, anyone who is like that are people that just annoy me. So like Bike Fit James annoys me. Neil Stansberry annoys me. If you're a freaking know-it-all and you're yelling at me, scream, sorry, you know, I just don't
Yeah,
have
turn down the volume.
time and the angst. Turn it
Hmm.
down. But uh, what is important and the news that I wish to speak to you about and the rest of the viewing public is Favero Pedals has released a Shimano based power meter.
Ooh.
Yes. This is something that's been a long time coming. I prefer a Shimano cleat, but I've been wearing a look cleat,
Hmm.
use the Favero Assioma pedal system. The the Assioma, I probably have, I don't know, 50, 60,000 miles on these pedals. They're beat up. You know, the bearings are shot. There's all kinds of stuff wrong with them. Uh,
Hmm.
niggles. They're still working, which is amazing.
No, you put lots of miles on your stuff, George. So
More than the average person. So when people are
yes,
like,
yeah,
oh, will it last? I'm like, dude, what do you ride? 3,000 miles a year? Yeah, it's going to
yeah.
last 20 years. Don't worry about it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's the thing. Once you start adding up my miles over year after year after year, for someone who's a casual rider, and nothing wrong with that, by the way, you only do 5,000 miles a year. Well, I'm doubling that, you know, and so
Easy.
I have the look based system, bought it set for Jess as well. But some people had some issues with the little pod on the outside, you know, it was
Hmm.
crank side anyway, and your shoe covers it, or I should say, when your foot's on the pedal, you don't see it really. And that was the charging. It's not even a port. And that's the beautiful thing about this. There's no opportunity for ingress of any contaminant.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
No batteries to swap out. I mean, nothing, right? Well, now with the MX Pro pedals, which is the SPD version, they got rid of that little pod. The pedal axle and everything is just, it's very discreet and it just looks like a regular pedal.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, that was a way I could identify the Faveros very quickly. Was the little pod piece on the in between.
Yes. And so now with the Shimano one, it's called the RS, so Road Shimano. They have that same spindle that was on the MX, which guess what? Now you can swap the pedal body over. So you want to
Oh.
ride road, no special tools, do that. Oh, I want to ride a gravel race, put that on there. Now,
Hmm.
I know Garmin did that with their rally pedals, but whatever. This is a better system. Guess what? It's super light as well. Like it weighs the weight of a Durace pedal without
Wow.
without electronics, right?
Wow.
So Shane Miller, one of the guys. See now, here's the difference. Do you know GP Llama?
Yes,
Shane
yes.
Miller?
Down in Australia. Yeah.
Yes. See now that's a channel I watch because he's he's not only intelligent but concise, but he's not yelling at you. He's
Hmm.
informing you, he's educating you. He's very thorough. And he has a protocol, his testing protocol. And so when you do something over and over and over again, and all you're doing is substituting this power base or this power meter, this power meter, this power meter, you have some baseline of what your expectations are. It's repeatable.
Hmm. A
You know,
very controlled experiment.
yes. And he does great, great reviews. And he's been for many years been using the Favero system as um, for lack of a better term, a benchmark. And
Hmm. Hmm.
that good and that reliable. So he just released a video. Peak Torque just released a video. He got a little nerdy because he's an engineer, so that's what he has to do. But Shane Miller I've always liked his reviews. They're very good. And
Hmm.
they're very shareable. So if I'm talking to a customer about a power meter system and they're like, well, what should I do? Should I get it in the crank? Should I get it a spider? Should I get a left crank only? Should I do this? Should I do that? I send them Shane Miller's video.
Hmm. Hmm.
Independent, third party. I'm not selling it to them. I'm recommending it to them, but maybe this will help them um, off the fence.
Hmm. Hmm. And
So
it's clean. It's not going to scare them away.
exactly. I had another industry news, but I thought this one was more important to cover.
Hmm.
Now, for those that are thinking, oh, these newfangled things, these power meters, I had an SRM back in 2009. I still have it, by the way. It's German, so it still works. Prior to that, I had power taps.
Hmm.
The problem with power tap was you needed one for every type of wheel set that you wanted. So if you wanted a training wheel set, because a power tap was in the hub, folks, for those that
Oh, it's in the wheel hub,
it
part
was,
of the wheel integrated. Okay.
we had the hub and then you built a rim around it like, okay, I want a training wheel, okay, aluminum rim, okay, I want a zip 404, so 58 millimeters of rim depth or a 808, and this is what I had.
Yeah, so that's pretty serious to get one of those.
Yeah, it would cost X amount and you had to keep building different wheels,
Hmm.
right? But eventually, I sold all of those and got an FRM, right? But prior to the power taps, I also had a Polar, the heart rate strap and all that.
Hmm.
They had a power meter. I mean, how they engineered this, these guys, brilliant. You know how when you strum a guitar,
Yeah. You
vibration,
get a vibration. Yes. Yeah.
they would measure the vibration of the chain.
Wow.
Based on that, they could tell what power you were producing. I was like,
Wow. That is some serious math.
yeah, I'm like, how I can't even begin to try to figure out how they did that.
Hmm.
So this was polar. You put this thing on your chainstay. You had another thing that went around your jockey, your pulleys on your derailleur cage. I'm trying to remember, it's been so many years ago, but that was another way to measure power way back when.
Hmm.
And of course, you had the ones that are inside the spindle, which crank spindle, like oh God, I can't remember the one. They gave me a demo for a little while. I can't remember what they were called. They went out of business. Um, and then Rotor did something similar. They called it an in spider, but I think it was also in the spindle. So when people say, "Oh, newfangled," these things have been around 20, 25 years or longer, actually, right? Because
Yeah.
using them in 2003, 2004, so
Hmm.
20 plus years, and SRM was already, well established.
Yeah. And George, do you remember there was a power meter that had a little tube that you would put on your handlebars and it
Oh
would
yeah.
measure the air pressure, but you had to calibrate it each time you went out to ride. So you remember that one. I don't know if it's still around, but I thought
Oh,
that was a rather interesting one too.
and it sold well because it was only like
Yeah,
$300.
it was super cheap. If you needed a cheap power meter, that was the one you were getting.
But there was no physical thing. Nothing was measuring torque. Nothing was measuring
Yeah, yeah.
torsion resistances or force of any type.
Hmm.
Anyway, the point is that power meters have gotten so inexpensive. I don't know why everyone doesn't have one. It's the best tool. It's the best thing that has come to a bicycle. I mean, maybe someday we'll do a podcast of the top five inventions for bicycles, but this would be very close to number one for me because it's a very good pacing tool. It's a very good training tool. It's a very good everything.
Hmm.
I should have one, period. You know, so, and I think some bikes were like installing them on their bike, and then when you got it home, if you wanted to activate the power meter, you had to like pay for it or something.
Oh.
I mean, like a power to max or something like that. And then
hmm
activated, you had to, yeah. So it was already on your bike, but
hmm
it was not working until you paid for it or activated. So someone can make a comment down below if they know what brand that was. But what's on your mind?
Yeah, well, I want to talk about Simon Yates in the Giro d'Italia, where he's the winner. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen it.
Oh my God. Oh, we'll have to put a spoiler alert before this segment starts.
Yeah, yeah, good. All right. Anyways, to give a little bit of backstory for him, 2018, I believe, he was wearing the pink jersey for several days until towards the end, he just cracked. He ran out of gas.
Oh, was this the Froome year?
Yes,
Oh,
this was the year.
I was watching that Giro.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that Giro, he was burning matches like
Mm-hmm.
mad. He was attacking, he was chasing down everything. And I'm like, wow, he's either doping or he's just on fire.
He's on fire, yeah.
And then he cracked.
And then he burned it up, yeah, like you said. He used all the matches.
Minutes and minutes and minutes on one stage. Didn't he lose like 18 minutes in one?
Yes, yes. He started he was in first, and then he ended up, but at the end, I want to say 21st or something like that, but pretty far down the leaderboard.
Yeah. And then Froome put his whole team on the front,
Mm-hmm.
packed on the Col de la Finestre, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Then then of course, oh, he's doping too. Then it comes out that apparently the fueling strategy that all teams use now, he used that day.
Mm.
He was like, I don't know, 400 calories per hour, some insane number that no one had done before. And if you watch, because I watched it live, and then I also watched it on replay many times after that. Every time the camera's on him, he is sucking down something.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
is, he is, and that guy is like, you know,
Yeah.
rail thin, and he's like, boom, there's a gel, there's a bottle, there's a gel, there's a bottle, there's a gel, and all of a sudden yours, pardon my French people, I'm sorry, they're all along the course, and they're all just handing him more bottles, more bottles, more bottles,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and food. Yeah, so he cracked. So Simon cracked on that one.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's the backstory. Okay, all right, go
Yeah,
on.
and like you said, it was on the Col, I'm gonna butcher this name. Col Finestre, the one that basically just goes straight up at the end. And this one, he was coming into the stage in third place. I want to say something like a minute and a half behind.
Okay,
And I think it was Carapaz and Del Toro.
Del
Um,
Toro, the Mexican. Where is he from?
yes, a Mexican. Yes.
He's with UAE. Yeah.
hmm
Okay, so he's in first. Carapaz racing.
Carapaz. Yeah.
Who's he racing for?
EF, I
Okay,
think. Yeah. And
okay.
so, they've got a pretty healthy lead in front of them. And Simon Yates, he takes off a little bit. He wasn't quite in the breakaway because there was one rider that had really just taken off. But he definitely put some distance between himself and the peloton.
And what stage are we talking about here?
I think it was 19, basically right before Rome, the last meaningful stage.
Okay. And I'm sorry, viewers, I have just not been paying attention to the Giro this year. So I am literally, yeah, go ahead.
hmm And so this stage is the Col Finestre, where it's got that monster climb right at the end. And going into it, he had several minutes in front of the pink jersey. And when they talked to him later, he knew ahead of time that this is going to be my redemption, that I'm going to fully make up for it this time. So this was no accident what had happened. Um, and as
I
a
guess I guess he was close the whole race. I mean, were they talking about him at all as a potential winner?
Not really. I mean, he was close because, a minute and a half, that's not out of the question. But at the same time, you're not particularly worried about him as long as you kind of keep him within distance.
And who's Simon Yates racing for?
Oh, I forgot his team. Yeah, we'll have to put that on the screen.
And it's funny because I usually know all this stuff. I'm so disconnected. And to be honest with you, it's all because of the GCN thing that went kaput.
Oh,
Because,
the streaming, yeah.
yes, because you could just put it on and
Hmm.
you didn't have to watch it live or whatever. You could watch it on replay. You can catch up. It was full
Hmm.
pages from beginning to end, even in the paddock, whatever they call
Hmm.
it,
Hmm.
racing. And it was just like once that thing fell apart, and it was like $50 for the year. It was
Hmm.
insane value. And sorry, but three of us used to split it. We demo each other, and it was like $15 for the year to watch all the races, all the spring classics, all the little
Hmm.
races, all that stuff. So I don't
Yeah.
know anybody who's racing what team anymore, but
Hmm. Hmm.
this team, did he have a team to protect them and all this other stuff, or was he flying solo? Because
I want to say that he was pretty much solo. It was a smaller group of riders that was with him, kind of in the not at the front, but then the little in between, and then you have the peloton
yeah,
back here.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the commentators were saying as they were going up the climb, and Carapaz and Del Toro, they just kind of kept looking at each other. Like, are you gonna pull me? Or is it your turn? Is it your turn? No, it's not my turn.
You
And
know who
yeah.
else has done that a lot? Vanderpool and Van Aert.
Hmm.
They end up watching each other while the other guy goes up the road and wins.
Versus who's it was Pagacha and who's the guy on Visma also the
Jonas?
Jonas, yeah. But Jonas instead he'll look at you as he's taken off.
Yeah. So how much did he win by? I mean, what are we
I
talking
want to say he put like a
about? Le
minute or
thing?
maybe two
Oh,
minutes into them. So it wasn't just by a little bit. He put his stamp on it and said, This was mine."
wow. Wow.
Yeah, and I can only imagine what was going on the team radio to Carapaz and Del Toro saying, "Hey, you're watching him. He's getting away. Do something."
Well, good for him. Took
Hmm.
took him 7 years. I mean, sometimes you may be at a point in your career you don't have another 7 years
Yeah, and he's no spring chicken.
to redeem yourself, right?
Yeah, he's definitely not on the young side of the peloton.
Well, I'm gonna have to look some of this up when we disconnect because I like those kinds of stories.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Um, it's been all Pogacar for the last I don't know how many years.
Pogacha, Vingegaard, those two.
Jonas, yeah, and Vanderpool, and so when you have someone like that win, that's really cool, and that's really really good for him. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
I wonder where his brother is because they've been on the same team a lot.
Yeah, his brother was on a different team, and he was saying, really, I'm here to support my team, but then if anybody else is gonna win, it's gonna be my brother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was there was one race, and I don't remember I think it was a stage race, one of the Grand Tours, and I mean they both were in the finale, I think they were both in the breakaway.
Mm,
It was really cool to just, yeah, my stepbrother and I never, as kids we always rode bikes, but as adults we never rode. So it,
hmm.
I wonder how it would have been as adults for us to ride bikes against each other. But
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me also of the Schleck brothers from a little while back. Those two.
Andy and Frank, yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
that's another era.
Hmm.
One of those two owns a bike shop. Is it Andy or is it Frank?
I don't know. I don't
One
know.
of,
And would this be out in the Netherlands over
yeah,
there? Yeah.
one of them owns a bike shop. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And this was also on one of these GCN stories or GCN videos, which were very well produced. They went back and I think it was Andy. I think they
Hmm.
and they did a typical interview with the history of his racing and everything else, and then the bike shop he owns, and yeah, so yeah, that's kind of cool. What else you got for tonight?
That's pretty much it for me, George. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
very light menu.
no, no, that's fine. I had, like I said, I had an industry news story, but I actually don't feel like talking about it now.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not as enthused about it as I was with the power meter. And the thing
Hmm.
was under embargo, so I couldn't talk about it until today.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with this term? I mean, embargo. So what happens is a manufacturer, wheel, component, whatever, will send their dealers an email and say, hey, and it could be a month, could be longer. And they say, we've got a new product release,
Hmm.
but you can't tell anyone about it. And you're like,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Unreleased, yeah.
and a lot of times you get a lot of the spec of it too. And you're like, wow, that's really cool. I can
Hmm.
talk about it, but you can't talk about it for another, whatever it is, a couple of weeks,
Hmm.
months. And so I've known about those power meter pedals for a while, but I couldn't talk about them. Ritchey sometimes will send me some stuff and they'll be like, well, just don't post it publicly. Maybe share it with your one or two, customers that you think might be interested in it. That way
Hmm.
you can get some pre-sales out of it.
Hmm.
And I think most manufacturers are like that too. As long as you don't post it publicly on social media and all that, you just go in. Speaking of social media, one last thing before we go. SQ Lab, I think and most of our viewers know that I ride their saddles pretty much exclusively. Um, the insoles in my shoes, and they're an ergonomics company.
Hmm.
Um, and they're German, and so their stuff is good too. And I was in talks with the one of their inside guys, and I said, "Look, I've got this 1200K coming up. I'd really like a set of your bibs to demo before I head out." So they did send me a set of bibs. It's called their 112R. R is
Hmm.
their, like super race, like call it like a M in BMW Motorsports, right?
Hmm.
M3, that that type of thing, the R. And I did an unboxing video that I haven't released yet, and then I did a 30-mile ride today, just my normal weekday ride. It's 30 miles, 2,000 feet, about 2 hours. And one of the things I really like about these bib shorts is that the chamois is super thin.
Hmm.
I and it seems like bib shorts want to go with these bigger and bigger, bigger.
Hmm.
What's your take on it? What kind of bib shorts do you look for?
So it's funny that you mentioned that they were super thin because when I first got into riding, I used to ride a pair of shorts that actually just had the leather
I had
chamois.
I had those too. It was a
Yeah.
Pearl Izumi, by the way, like way back in 87, 88 time frame, or
Mm-hmm.
87 when I got my first Bianchi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I had to condition it with the butt butter and everything. So I kind of got used to a very thin pad because you just kind of like to feel the seat under you. So I'm also a fan of less is more kind of padding on the bib shorts. Um, so far, I ride my summer shorts are Pearl Izumi ones, and those ones are probably a little bit thicker than I'd like. But I also got them on clearance for a steal a little while back.
Yeah.
So I'm not complaining.
These are 4 millimeter thin, thick, whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
half full, half empty. They are really, really minimalist. There's contours in the chamois that will complement the SQ Lab saddle, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It may work for others, it may not, but I really like a thinner chamois, and you just don't have all this stuff just all, yeah. So look for that unboxing video coming up soon. And then, of course, I rode them today. So, uh,
And George, the so I went to the SQ Labs booth at the Sea Otter this past year. I didn't know that they had clothing. I saw their handlebars, their seats, of course, a couple other the insoles, but I did not know they had clothing. So that's great news to hear that they're putting out
yeah,
more stuff.
they've had clothing for a while. I don't know why they don't market that more.
Hmm. Yeah,
Maybe,
and I've been to their website a few times too, and I just never noticed.
yeah. Maybe that's why I got a pair, because that maybe they're looking to go into that direction of, hey, if we get some users on it, maybe
Hmm.
get some visibility about our clothing. But I've had, and this is the good thing about a minimalist pad, there's very little to break down, very little to, I mean,
Hmm.
I had two other pair of their bibs like years and years ago that I still wear every now and then. It just depends on what mood I'm in.
Hmm.
And so yeah, they've had clothing for many, many years, but it's a little known fact, I guess. And in the shop, I don't I don't position them first.
Hmm.
This particular bib's like 330 bucks.
Oh, so yeah, it's not cheap. It's not a discount one.
That's right. So then I generally will position like a Pearl Izumi, because there are so many price points
Hmm.
from their, like a $50 short to a 200 and something dollar bib.
Hmm.
Um, and speaking of bibs and Pearl Izumi, because this was part of the discussion I was having with the SQ Lab person, I've gotten into wearing bibs with cargo pockets.
Yes.
And at first I thought, oh, that's just so lame. But I've got a system already figured out. So now, my nutrition's in my jersey, cycling jersey.
Hmm.
And then if it's a half-eaten item, it's in my right cargo pocket, right? So if it's half of a bar, half of a Cliff Blocks,
Hmm.
something like that, that's in that pocket. And then in my left pocket is all the wrappers, all the waste, right?
Hmm.
So if I run into if I ride into a aid station, my back pockets are empty.
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
the stuff I grab from the table, boom, 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 into my pockets, and off I go. And then
Hmm.
repeat, just keep doing that. Every time that I eat something, it goes into either the half-eaten pocket or the pocket, right? And then same, I need to empty stuff out, right? So
Yeah.
it's a system, because now I've got two extra pockets.
And of course, you're going to fill them up with stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the ending topic was the SQ Lab bib shorts, and I think they're going to make the rotation when I go to my 1200K. So,
Hmm.
but I did ask them if you got a pair of gravel bibs with with cargo pockets, I'm
Hmm.
willing to try those too because those cargo pockets. I mean, you just can't carry enough nutrition
Hmm. Hmm.
these long unsupported events. I can't just raise my hand and a vehicle pull. Give me two more bottles, right?
Hmm.
You got to pack it yourself. And so,
Yeah,
anyway,
and I will say, like you said, having the system where it's easy to locate something, where you don't reach behind you and is that a wrapper? Is it half? Or am I eating a brand new one when I had a half? Or is this my phone?
yeah, yeah. Well, there's that. And if you're in a pace line, I mean, you don't have time
Hmm.
to mess around and you got to hold your line, you got to do this, you got to do that, and you're just like if I just can reach into the half-eaten pocket, then I just grab what I need.
Hmm.
Actually, there is another little point on this. The top tube bag, which I also used to think was kind of lame. This thing is this thing, for people who have trouble reaching in their back pockets and
Hmm.
bike is unstable when they're doing that, just put it right in front of you.
Oh
And
yeah.
you just pick little stuff in there. You just pick out a little bit and you're constantly fueling and it's right in front of you. It's right where your hands are going to be anyway, because here's the handlebar and you
Hmm.
just move it a little bit. Anyway, there's the pro tip for the folks that are like, oh, I can't reach in my back pocket while I'm riding and yeah.
And you don't want a basket in front of you.
Yeah. No baskets. And I'm still kind of every now and then on the handlebar bag, but
Hmm.
we're not going to beat up anybody on handlebar bags today. All right, John. I do appreciate shooting another video with you, and I'm glad that we were able to find some time around your busy schedule this week. So
Hmm.
let's hope for another week of good industry news that we can cover, something positive, just like today's power meter thing segment, and yeah, and then maybe some good racing news as well.
Yeah, my pleasure to be here, George. Always a treat to chat with you.
All right, John. Thank you for watching, everyone else. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you up the road.
Go Campy!